Hello everybody, welcome back for another Dominican University interview special. We're packing up, getting ready to leave for sunny Fort Myers, Florida in a couple of days, getting ready for the 2015 baseball and softball seasons. But before we hit the road, I wanted to take a moment and catch up with fourth-year head baseball coach Steve Hardman. Steve, as I said, you're going into your fourth year. How do you approach your fourth season differently, or how does it compare as you head into your fourth season, your approach? How do you compare your approaches from your first season over to your fourth season now?
Sure. I at this stage of the game, going into my fourth season, what's nice about that is that everything that I've wanted to implement has already been implemented. There's a lot less hand-holding right now, and a lot more of the teaching of the game now. I think our standards, our morals are in place now to where it could be just a baseball part. I don't have to have a chokehold on guys at all times now. So that's always nice going in and having older guys in the program that understand how things should be run.
Okay, you talk about some older guys. One guy that actually jumps off the page when you look at it is your junior catcher, Cody Schuster. He's got 2 years experience behind the plate. Throughout his first 2 years was consistently one of your better bats in your lineups. What's it like to have somebody like Cody both as a catcher, behind the plate, receiving your pitchers, but then more importantly having his bat in your lineup? What does he mean to your team?
Yeah, Cody is would be very hard to replace right now in our lineup. First and foremost, he's a great person. Outstanding in the classroom. Never have to worry about him off the field. He's the prototypical guy that we want in our program, but he's also great to see in the 3 or 4 hole for us also. He was a first-team all-conference guy last year. We highly anticipate him being that type of player again for us this year. I think he hit 402 or 403 last year. He is a very tough out in this league, and to have a guy like that in your 3 hole that you know is going to create some chaos for pitchers down the road, it's great to have.
Okay, you talked about how Cody was an all-conference member last year. He also this year preseason was named one of the Division III players to watch, along with Quinlan Milne-Rojek and Chance Emlin. Talk a little bit about Quinlan and Chance and what they mean and what their roles on the team are as we look into both their junior seasons.
Yeah, and that was a really good recruiting class for us. Obviously, all 3 of those guys juniors are going to be around for another, this season and another. Chance is going to be the top of the order, top of the lineup guy kind of for us in our rotation. He's going to see the ball probably on a Saturday or Sunday for us. Left-handed arm, who's one of the better left-handed arms in this conference, and that says a lot with some very good left-handed arms in this conference. He's also going to be playing this summer in the New York Collegiate Baseball League, which also speaks volumes about his talent level and what people think of him. Quinlan Milne-Rojek, he's been a staple on top of our lineup, for the last 2 years. He'll be hitting either the 1 or 2 hole for us and anchoring down center field for the first time. He's been out and right for the last 2 years, and he'll also probably find his way onto the mound yet again. We always say this might be the year that Quinlan doesn't pitch for us, but he always finds a way to get on the mound because he's a battler. He'll get out there and pound the strike zone and give us an opportunity to win a ball game.
So those are just a couple of the returners that people should watch out for this year. However, you do lose. Last year you lost 2 of your starting pitchers. A guy that came off the bench and did some pinch running, pinch hitting, and was a late inning defensive replacement. But then Joe Krasny, who's now on your coaching staff, who arguably could have been your best bat in your lineup. He was a threat to run every time he was on base. How do you replace a guy like that? And then who do you have coming up, maybe whether it's a returner that may not have saw a lot of time last year or new guys that, you're going to look to replace some of the guys that you've lost?
Yeah, I don't know that you replace a guy who hits 411 for you, who's a base running threat and just a heck of a ball player and a great leader. How you replace him is you put him on your coaching staff and you have him help all other guys on your team. But I think you got to have to take a Moneyball approach to it, and you don't look at it as trying to find one guy who replaces a guy who hit 411, but you find multiple guys that can do a fraction of what he did to piece that together. And I think we've done that through recruiting, through development. We've got some guys that are going to be stepping up through the ranks here. That are going to be in our lineup helping us every day. That is going to give us an opportunity to compete for a conference championship.
I don't want you to give away too much, but you've been known over the last 3 or the first 3 years of your head coaching tenure. You guys have been a little bit of a small ball team. Talk to me a little bit about what the strengths and weaknesses of the 2015 Dominican Stars is going to be.
Yeah, I think definitely our strength, first and foremost, is going to be pitching. This is probably the deepest that we have been on the mound in my 4 years here. We've got 4 guys that we can run out there on a weekend and be very confident with. We also got a 5, 6, 7 starter also that can very easily be a conference starter for us. So what that gives us is it gives us flexibility to be able to run out there and throw out multiple guys, but also gives us some depth there in the bullpen to where where we don't have to leave a guy out there hanging for 7 or 8 innings if he's starting to get tired or go south. We can get somebody in there, quick to be able to spell him, and then also give us a competitive edge also on our midweek non-conference games to give us an opportunity to be able to win as many ball games as we can this year.
Okay, we talked a little bit about pitching. Tell me a little bit about your team defense. Maybe some philosophies you guys have, what people can expect as they tune in and watch a game down in Florida.
Yeah, our standard is 965 defense, and we work very, very hard at that fundamentally to be able to get to that point. We got a lot of guys, especially in our outfield. We got 3 guys that can go and get it, and that's what I tell our outfielders. I don't care how you throw, but all I need you to do is go catch the ball when it's up in the air. Very simple. And I think we got 3 guys that can absolutely do that, and Tim Varallo, Milan Rojic in center field. Then we also got a little bit of a dogfight out in right field right now. We got 3 freshmen and a couple other upperclassmen that are fighting for spot right now, and so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But I think our outfield can definitely go get it. From an infield standpoint, we do got a couple new bodies out, especially on the left side of the infield. That we'll see how that pans out. And Max Youngblood and Nate Natividad, but also Roy Soleil, they'll be in the mix there, and JT Hicks, who's a transfer here at semester. On the right side, we're returning pretty much our whole right side. We'll have Kevin Shore, Lyons, Joe Lyons in there. Quentin McQuaid at first base. Alex Hernandez will be in the mix there at second base also. Dominic Ramito. So some familiar faces on the right side. So we'll see how that all comes together.
Okay, and at the plate, what type of approach should we expect to see out of your hitters?
I think we're going to be a little bit closer to what we were in year 1, 2. We're going to be trying to manufacture a little bit more, try to put a little bit more pressure on teams with some of the bigger bats that did graduate for us. Not really waiting for that big inning, but that's baseball. If we can be able to put some runs up, I'm very confident in what our pitchers can do to be able to hold teams under 4, where we're going to win a lot of ball games.
Okay. As we get ready for the start of the year, I'm sure you've sat down and you've had conversations individually with guys and as a group, as a team. Talk to me a little bit about team goals, what you guys expect, whether it be down in Florida, as we come back and play a few non-conference games. It's only 1 or 2 non-conference games before the conference season starts. And then what your goal is this year in the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference. Obviously, last year you guys had a very successful year from a conference standpoint. You guys made the conference tournament, knocked off Benedictine in game number 1, won your second game of the conference tournament, and were one of the last 3 teams standing in a conference that features traditionally some powerhouses in Concordia, Aurora, Benedictine. You guys were one of the last 3 teams standing. So what are your guys' team goals this year?
Down in Florida in the early part of the season, a big part of the early part of the season is trying to figure out what your personnel is, what they can do for you, and trying to find that mix of 9 guys, 10 guys, 11 guys that are going to be able to come together as a unit for you to be the strongest at the end of the year. Our overall season goal is no different than it is every year, is play meaningful games in May. And what that means is get to a conference tournament, and then at that point you reevaluate, you win a conference tournament. And at that point you reevaluate, you win a regional, and you move on. So our goals are always lofty. We go about our business every single day with those goals in mind, and that's never going to change as long as I'm here. And trying to get everybody on the same page, that's really the biggest goal, I think. And I think we're pretty darn close in that right now. And again, in the early part of the season here is trying to find that right mix of guys and playing fundamentally sound baseball. And that's on all aspects of everything that we do: defense, offense, pitching, and base running.
Okay. We've talked about you've thrown out a lot of different names throughout the course of our interview here. One of the things that you've kind of changed as you took over the program was maybe a recruiting philosophy. Traditionally, Dominican's a school that draws a lot from in-state and especially around the Chicagoland area. You've drawn guys from California, Las Vegas, Minnesota, Colorado. You've even gone international, and you got Quentin, who's from France, on your team. What's your recruiting approach, and what do you look for when you go out and you go to a showcase? What do you look for that you could spot right away in a player to know that that's a guy you're going to want to track down and chase and try and recruit?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's difficult in this profession when you have a very quick snapshot of what a guy can do in a 2 or 3 minute span, and can this guy help you out or not. I think the follow-up is probably the most important. But really, we've taken the approach, myself, my coaching staff, John Bazinski, Joe Freilich, Zach Basil, Joe Krasny, all 4 of those guys do an outstanding job for us. But we've taken the approach where we're not going to just restrict ourselves regionally. It's not going to be just Northern Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana at recruiting. I think that's a hotbed for baseball. We do still get a lot of guys from that area, but we've really opened up our parameters, and we've gone west, east, north, and south, and international, like you said. And I think looking for the type of player we're looking for is we're looking for a hard-nosed, blue-collar guy. And that's something that we preach and talk about a lot in our program, is taking that blue-collar approach. And we want guys that are baseball guys. We want guys that aren't afraid of hard day's work, guys that aren't afraid to put their head down and go to work. And that's kind of been our approach on our day-to-day. And if somebody's not accustomed to that coming in this is not going to be for them. So a big part of that is, can they play? Do they have the skill set on the field? But also getting to know them through the recruiting process and trying to figure out what type of person are they? Are they going to be able to get behind what we're doing on a day-to-day basis?
All right. Well, pretty soon we're going to hop on that plane, head down to Florida. That'll be the next time you see Coach Hardman and the Stars. But we want to thank you for talking with us today. And here's to 7 or so wins down in Florida.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yep.